All right, guys. Game's not over yet, as you guys can see, but Seahawks are down 2 scores, and they don't have the ball, and they don't have their quarterback. So it is over. Yeah, we don't know what the final score is going to be exactly. We don't know what the stats are exactly going to be, but the game's over. So let's just go ahead and get started on this now, and I can get this post-game video up a little earlier than usual. So yeah, that was bad, people. That was bad. And look, I felt good coming into this game, so there's not going to be any. I'm not going to try to damage control this one too much. I don't think there's much to damage control here. That's just a really, really sad effort in a primetime game with a lot on the line. This video is being powered by BetUS and not much else because of how sad that effort was tonight. Um, I'm pretty sure you can count the number of Seahawks players who played good tonight on one hand. And maybe you could come up with another hand worth of players that played, like, okay. Like, they didn't necessarily do anything wrong. But, man, that's a wake-up call. As a fan, that has to be a little bit of a wake-up call. You had won 4 in a row. You were feeling good. Things were going well. But you look at a game like this and you're just like, well, we got to reevaluate a little bit because there's no excuse to sleepwalk in this game. This isn't a trap game. This is the game that you might fall into a trap for in a previous week. But this is not some trap game that you're overlooking because you're thinking about the next game. This is that next game. And you're at home, national TV, and nothing. Basically nothing. So the air's out of the balloon here. And that's just the stuff that actually happened with the team versus the Green Bay Packers. Like, that may not even be the worst of it. The worst of it might be what happened to our quarterback, which we don't know very much about yet, but I've been watching this second half now. I'm still keeping an eye on it out of the corner of my eye over here, and we might not have him. We'll find out more as the week goes on, obviously, but right now it's a question mark. So yeah, I mean, and not just how sad this effort was. The sadness of this effort makes you question things, but then the fact that you may have lost your quarterback for some period of time just really makes it seem like things have gone off the rails. Um, I don't know exactly where to start. I don't know if starting in one particular place or another is really better because I thought both sides were equally sad. Seahawks got a 4th down stop here, by the way, so Sam Howell has a chance to show he can do something because we sure haven't seen much from him so far tonight. I don't know. Let's start with the offense. Let's start with the offense because when I saw Jair Alexander was going to be out for this game, I got a little optimistic. I thought, okay, this is a situation where we can play at home against a wounded defense that really has some problems getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. Now they don't have their superstar corner. We should be putting up some serious points. And it was not until what kind of sort of felt like garbage time that we even got a touchdown, that we even got past single digits. There's a lot of blame to go around for that one. So I think it's a very close race between who is more disappointing between the offense and the defense. But I think that if I had to pick, I'd say the offense is a little more disappointing. And, it's stuff like this. It's stuff like this that makes you wonder about a lot of it, maybe all of it. Before I go any further, though, I do want to tell you about my friends over at BetUS. You can head on over there right now. We got a double header of Monday Night Football tomorrow night. Bears, Vikings, Falcons, Raiders. You can go bet point spreads, money lines, over-unders, prop bets. You can bet on other sports. You can bet on hockey. You can bet on basketball. You can bet on pretty much anything you want to bet in the sporting world. Promo code YouTube150 will get you a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% deposit bonus on your next two deposits up to $2,000. So get on over to BetUS, best online sportsbook and casino on the internet. Get to some sports gambling and make some money. Okay, so anyway, back to it. I was more enthusiastic for BetUS than I was for this game because it was such a deflatingly poor effort. The offense, I think that the main things to be sour on right now as a fan, trying to figure out what you can take away from each game would be the offensive line. I think that's got to be number one, really, because that Packers pass rush is sad. That Packers pass rush is weak, and they killed you tonight. They didn't send a bunch of exotic, crazy blitzes. They didn't do a lot of things that they don't usually do. They did what they typically do, and I'm watching Sam Howell get sacked again, and don't get me wrong, Sam Howell gets sacked in part because his decision-making is atrocious, and he's very, very slow on making decisions. So I'm not putting it all on the offensive line here, but Geno Smith was getting sacked too, right? So you're playing this Green Bay front that is going to keep things relatively simple, and we got an interception, so my decision to start the post-game video early seems to be correct. So, okay, silver lining. We don't have to hear anything about Sam Howell ever again. Even tonight, a game where Geno Smith didn't even play that good, I never have to hear about Sam Howell again for the rest of my life, because we saw, those of you who wanted to see what Sam Howell can do, we're seeing what Sam Howell can do, and it's not look like an NFL quarterback. And I guess there's a part of me that wants to be a little bit annoyed that we traded for this guy, and he's been on the team all year, he's been practicing, and he goes out there and literally can't do anything except, I mean, barely even hand the ball off. Honestly, he handed the ball off like twice the whole game, but I don't know. I'm not in the mood to kill Sam Howell. I know he wasn't expecting to play tonight. He's probably terrified right now, but man, he doesn't look like a real quarterback. He doesn't. And at the very least, I won't have to deal with any more people in my comments talking about how we need to see what Sam Howell can do, because now we have. So that's a silver lining, but it's not one I'm happy about. Anyway, sorry. Back to the offensive line. This Packers front mauled them. Lomia, awful. Oluwatimi, missed a block and then got hurt. And Jalen Sundell, to his credit, made a couple of nice plays, but also snapped it early a couple times. Blew up one play, nearly blew up another. So it wasn't all great. So you're down to your third string center, and maybe there's a part of me that is like, I got to give them a little bit of a break, because when you're down to your third string center, what do you expect to happen that's going to be good? But Laken Tomlinson, he got beat early in this game for a third down sack, right? That was before Olu got hurt, I think. And even if it's not, who cares? Like, do your job. Abraham Lucas, like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if we can, I don't know how much faith we can have in that guy going into 2025. Like, he's out there playing, he's out there trying, but he's getting bullied. The knee looks like it might be a little bit cooked. Like, that's, I don't know about that. So, the offensive line, really, really sad. Really, really sad that you can't protect against that Green Bay pass rush. It's one of the worst in the league. And I thought maybe we turned a corner last week against Arizona, because Arizona is another team that doesn't get after the quarterback really at all. And then I saw what they did last week, and I was like, okay, we can handle Green Bay. This tells me we can handle Green Bay. And they looked like they looked back in, week 5 against the Giants all over again. And, I think that there's probably some pieces on this offensive line that just plain aren't talented enough. But there's also something to be said for building synergy and getting on the right wavelength with your teammates. We should be seeing improved returns just based off the fact that these guys are familiar playing with each other, and we're not. So that's number one. Then Grubb. I made that video about a week and a half ago criticizing Ryan Grubb pretty heavily. And then he had a really good game last week, and I was like, okay, time to lay off, but we can't have nice things. I thought that was pretty bad by Ryan Grubb. I don't want to blame him too much for abandoning the run because the defense came out so bad that I think we kind of had to, but how many third downs are we going to have? Third and short, like third and totally manageable. And Green Bay gets a garbage time touchdown on Witherspoon, so I think Witherspoon's no touchdown allowed streak is over. Romeo Dobbs. So, good for Romeo. Hope somebody won their fantasy league on that. But how many times are we going to have third and short, and the routes are 15 yards downfield? Like, we need 4 yards here. We don't have an offensive line for you to be running a 15 to 20 yard play down the field. We just need to get the 4 yards and move on. There were like 2 plays in this game where it was third and short and nothing. So definitely disappointed there. He did a couple things in this game later on that I did have an appreciation for, that I did like, but then Geno got hurt, and it's really, really hard to evaluate anything Grubb's doing when Sam Howell's out there literally looking like a punter who got thrown into the game as a quarterback. So I'm not going to get into all that, but Grubb, you've been coaching this offense long enough now to have some idea of the limitations of your roster. And one of the limitations of your roster is they can't pass block on third down well enough for you to run those long developing plays. So you got to stop doing it. And, I mean, really, those would be the 2 big things. Geno didn't play very well, although with Geno, really, it was just one bad throw. And it was a really bad throw. Lot wrong on that play. I understand on some level that he's trying to basically throw a Hail Mary because he feels like a field goal isn't going to do you much good there because of the way the defense was playing. And in fairness, if you look at the final score of this game, or likely final score of this game, a field goal wouldn't have done anything, but it's still a bad throw. It's still a bad decision. It's basically just playing 500 ball and hoping Noah Fant can go jump up and get it. JSN, only guy who really came to hoop today. JSN had a good game. Felt a little bit empty at times because we couldn't cash in on these drives. He would make a great play and then we still wouldn't get in the end zone. But, I mean, JSN, he's still him, right? Charbonnet had a pretty good game, I guess. Like, you can't really criticize him. That's for sure. I know that at the end of the game, he had, like, what? He's going to have, like, what, 70 yards of offense. Maybe he'll get some in garbage time here. Great. Cool. Awesome. But I'm not going to act like he was, like, some massively impactful player. Like, he's not Josh Allen last week doing everything he can to beat the Rams and still losing, but I don't think you can criticize him. Then there were a couple other players who probably did their job okay, but didn't really stand out. Guys like DK. Like, DK didn't do anything wrong in this game, I don't think. He just didn't really have the opportunities because the offensive line was that bad, and then Geno Smith gets hurt in the third quarter. And, I mean, how sad is it that you let your quarterback get hurt like that in a game against the Packers? Like, if it happens against a team with an elite pass rush, like if we played a team with a high-level pass rush and Geno just got the crap kicked out of him for 4 quarters and then he got hurt, okay, that's one thing, I guess. But you let it happen against the Packers, who have like the 30th ranked pressure rate. That's just sad. That's just, I don't know. I don't know. You want to have some belief and faith in them after what you saw last week, but then you see something like this and you're like, they're just never going to get any better. I guess that's really about all I can say, right? Like, I don't want to kill Sam Howell right now because, again, he's probably terrified right now. But that was, I mean, can you at least look like you're capable of doing the basics as an NFL quarterback? Because right now you really don't. And defense, people are probably going to look up at the end of this game and be like, oh, well, they were, it wasn't that bad, right? You held Green Bay to 23 until garbage time, and it was a winnable game if the offense was competent, but letting Green Bay go up 14 to nothing in like the blink of an eye, like we did, like 14 nothing immediately, that's the game, right? That's the game. Now you're forcing the offense to kind of have to start thinking about getting one-dimensional. We have a 7th sack on our quarterback, by the way. I think that was Cross, so he gets involved as well. You have you have bad tackling, bad angles taken, defensive line getting blown off the ball like every single play. Defensive line getting beat down. And that includes Leonard Williams, who has been a man possessed lately, but that was awful. And I know he made a couple nice plays at the end of this game, but when it really mattered, when we needed it, I was surprised. I didn't think he had it in him to be that irrelevant for that long a period of football in a very important game. Linebackers were bad, and Woolen, like, we got to spend a minute on Reek Woolen. I'm done. I'm done with him. I got to put my foot down on this one. I've been kind of going back and forth on him this season. That guy, I don't know what happened exactly. I don't know where he went. I don't know how it got this way, but he doesn't belong in the football. Like, he should legitimately go get a job as a car salesman after this season. Like, what does he do? He's a track star. He can run really fast in a straight line. But now he can't cover. He's letting receivers get behind him constantly now. And tonight, you saw a quarterback who actually took advantage of it. Like, he's been kind of skating through for a while now, if we're being honest. He lets receivers get behind him, and he doesn't get tested because I think quarterbacks in the NFL right now generally try to resist the urge to go for the kill shot because that's not the way things go in the modern NFL. You want to, dink and dunk your way up and down the field generally. Jordan Love did not. And Woolen, that was the worst half of football I've ever seen from a cornerback. And we've seen bad play from cornerbacks in Seattle over the last, 12 to 15 years. We've had some bad ones. Kerry Williams, Harold Simon, Trey Flowers. But I don't know how you get worse than that. So Woolen, at this point, Artie Burns is probably going to get activated this week. Maybe Trey Brown will get back this week. Woolen doesn't need to be playing anymore. And honestly, we should probably cut him this offseason. He can't tackle. He's not a good run supporter. He doesn't seem all that engaged. He doesn't seem all that interested in the proceedings right now as a football player. Like, I'm seeing him get caught out of sorts. Like tonight, he had the one play where he probably would have had an interception. At least he would have batted the pass away right before half. Well, no, it was actually on the drive before that, I think. And he gets like his feet tangled up or something underneath him, and then he can't get back in time, and it goes over his head, and then it just looks like, again, I criticize Sam Howell for looking like he's never played quarterback before tonight, but I kind of get it because he got thrown into the fire in the middle of a game that he wasn't expecting to play in. Reek Woolen sometimes looks like he's never played cornerback before, and that doesn't make any sense because he's been playing cornerback for years now. And he's been playing pretty much every game for the Seahawks over the last few years, and he's regressed so far. Like, he wasn't this bad as a rookie. He wasn't this bad in his first game in the NFL. I remember. He made mistakes in that game, but it was not like this. The series of mistakes he made in that first half, clearly benchable. And I will say this, I don't think he got benched in this game. I gotta believe he would have been if we had Artie Burns, but I mean, Pete Carroll benched him. Pete Carroll benched the dude last year during the Niners game. I mean, people were trying to say, oh, maybe he got hurt. No. He didn't get hurt. He's just wasn't playing good. So if Pete can do it, Mike, you better be willing to do it. Joby didn't play very well either. Witherspoon, I mean, I don't think he played a bad game, but garbage time touchdown. Doesn't look good on the end of game stats. There's no level of this defense that played well. Like, there's nobody to shout out positively. Maybe Julian Love, I guess, played okay. But that's about where it ends. Woolen just got beat again, by the way, but Christian Watson dropped it, so maybe that'll look slightly better in the film room. I don't. No pressure on Jordan Love. I mean, like, literally, if you're going to try to make a list of players that played well tonight, you got JSN, Jalen Darden, Michael Dixon, Jason Myers. I'm trying to come up with a fifth, man. I'm trying to come up with a fifth. Charbonnet. Okay. Okay, I think we got to 5, but I'm not getting any further than that. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. I'm going to get this video up, and I'll stream later, but I don't know if anybody's going to want to be there after this. We went out sad tonight, people. Actually, no. You know what? I got to mention one other thing in this video, and I kind of forgot about it, but we actually got to take a couple minutes to talk about one more thing in this game. I know this video is already too long, but yeah, what do we do about these fans, guys? Look, on the one hand, I don't think a team that plays this poorly deserves to have a good home fan base. So part of me is like, I get why Seahawks fans don't show up to this game, right? Like, you look at the way the team played and you're kind of like, well, they don't deserve to have Seahawks fans go to the game. But then it's like, was part of the reason why the game went the way it did because there were 35 to 40% Packers fans there? Like, I don't know. I have complicated thoughts on that one, guys. Let me know what you guys think about that aspect of it. Like, there was definitely a moment before this game started and right after the game started where I really wanted to just, lay into these soft season ticket holders that just look at holding season tickets as being for profit. And you definitely saw that tonight. Like, there were tons of Packers fans there. And look, the Packers fans travel. The Packers have a really good fan base. I get that. But it really does highlight how weak this fan base is right now. And I don't know what to do about it. I don't know what you do to fix it. But the organization needs to do something to restore home field advantage. Because if they don't do something, it's not going to come back, and it's going to be like this self-sustaining feedback loop. The team isn't hyper elite, so the fans don't come, so the team remains not hyper elite because they don't get the home field advantage, so the fans continue to not come. I don't have answers, but something's got to be done. I don't feel like fans should be disallowed from selling tickets to other people when they can't go or don't want to go or whatever, but selling it to all these fans of other teams, man, like, at a certain point, let somebody else who actually wants the season tickets for themselves, because this was a big game, and if you can't show up for this game as a fan and you have the ability to go, that's pretty weak. But again, the way the team played tonight, they don't deserve to have a good fan base. So kind of torn on that one. I can't even unload on the 12s the way I was planning on. Thank you to BetUS for powering the video once again. I'll see you guys later tonight for a short stream. Go Hawks.